Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Fantasy Endgame live for you. And first and foremost, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. And of course, to my number one fan of Fantasy Endgame, both baseball and football, my mother. And I say that, everyone says that. It's actually true. It's literally true because she tells me that every single live stream I do, pretty much, the ones she's available to watch, which is most of them, she's the first one waiting in line. So when I hit enter, go live, and as soon as I'm live and I already have people waiting, she's always the first one. So thank you, Mom. Appreciate your support. And of course, hope everybody had a great day. And we had some baseball today, as always. So the baseball season does not slow down or stop for anything. It's a marathon. We're into almost the middle of May already. Hard to believe. So you want to keep going. You want to make sure you do the right things for your team. That's why we're here to talk about two-start streamers. Now, it is getting to be late Sunday night. If you haven't gotten your waiver claims in, put them in now. I'm going to start with that, and we'll talk about then a couple of other topics, and of course, get to your questions. I know that's why y'all are waiting here. Got a lot of comments and questions already. But if you're watching this back, and it's not live, you can still act on this. You can pick up these players. You don't have to necessarily pick them up right now unless you're in a league that only uses weekly claims. I know some are like that. So if so, here we go. Let's start. You got a couple of minutes left, possibly, if you're in the NFBC or some other those very competitive leagues. Otherwise, you got a couple of hours. And you know what? You don't have to, let me say again, you don't have to stream these guys both times unless you're in a league that forces you to do that with your lineups. If you are in a daily lineup league, then maybe you can pick and choose. So I'll tell you who my favorite absolute two-start streamers are, and let's go in order, starting with number one. And I obviously am still optimistic about Shane Baz because I got him number one. Now, it's hard to say whether he's going to still count as a streamer because he's still mostly owned, even despite his last couple of starts, but 67% now. I think that's low enough where I can say he's been dropped in some even shallower leagues, even 12-team leagues. Some people are very nervous, and rightfully so. But that ownership, once it gets to just under 2/3 owned, they say, okay, he is a streaming possibility. So why am I still in Shane Baz, even though he's given up 13 earned runs just in his last two starts? He has not looked good. Okay, so first of all, I'm still a believer in Shane Baz overall because as long as he's healthy, the talent is there. I don't want to let one or two, and like I get it, they weren't just bad. They were really, really, really bad starts, but I don't want it to move me off a guy completely. But here's the thing. It doesn't seem to be injury related. I don't see anything else going on here. But the Rays, again, because of the stadium situation and the way their schedule had to be laid out, every single game has been in that park, and that park has played like a hitter's park so far. So finally, he gets to go back on the road. He only has one road game so far out of 7, that he's gone. All these starts, only once has he been able to be away from that minor league park. So finally go on the road. There's one road game he's had this season. He pitched 7 scoreless innings. And so away from home, one thing, but also the schedule, gets the Blue Jays and the Marlins. Pretty good schedule. I do think this is a perfect get right spot for Baz. So I'm putting him number one for those reasons. I do think this is the time that he can correct what has gone wrong. If he doesn't, if this is another rough week, then something's going on here. And then, yeah, we're full-blown panic mode. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt this week at least. And then number 2 is a guy I finally came around on, talked about him in the waiver wire video. Okay, so I guess Matt Liberatore is pretty good. We've always known this was in him. He just hadn't shown it until this year. And I wanted to see it for more than just a couple of starts. And looking into it, it's not just that he's gotten the results. He has earned it, and it's all there. The control is immaculate. And that was always the big question mark with him. And he was always way above league average with his walk rate. And all of a sudden, he's one of the best in the majors, like a 3.5%. So, yeah, I already discussed Liberatore. You already know the deal here. You said, come on, people have picked him up already. Nope. Yahoo right now, I'm looking at 42% rostered rate. ESPN, like always, it's lower. CBS tends to run higher. It always depends on your league. But I know some people have been hesitant, like me, to buy into Liberatore. this is the time to do it. So a good 2-start streamer this week if you don't want to fully buy in. Now, the thing is, the schedule isn't great. So that's why he can't be number one. He gets a road game against the Phillies, which is never good. And then a road game against the Royals, which you think would be good, but the Royals now all of a sudden the last 2 weeks can't stop winning, and the bats have finally woken up. So it's going to be dicey, but he has been so good, even in tough matchups so far. I don't think you can question it too much. And then number 3, this is a guy that I really have not talked about very much, but he's always kind of there. He's always just a streamer. It's Merrill Kelly. Good, not great, for fantasy purposes. He's a guy who's going to eat some innings. He's got command. He doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, which I will say about pretty much every single pitcher from here on out, because this is why they're streamers, right? Not great strikeout rates, except for maybe one. So Kelly, if you look at it on the season, a 4.09 ERA, that's not that great. But this is a case where his ratios were way inflated by one bad start, and it came against the Yankees on the road. So we can definitely excuse that, right? They lit him up. But other than that, he's been really good. And if you're in a league that uses quality starts, absolutely, this is a great week for him, because he also goes on the road against the Giants, which is pretty nice, and at home against the Rockies. And so we'll talk about the Rockies a little bit later. And look, they're getting better. Things are getting shaken up there with Bud Black out, but they're still the worst team in the majors. So let's not get carried away here. Merrill Kelly has 2 nice starts. So as long as you don't expect strikeouts, then you should be pretty good with him. And then a guy who's almost his clone is Michael Wacha of the Royals. Well, the Royals have been winning, and he's a veteran who goes out there, usually can last you about 6 innings. So he can get you those quality starts plus wins. Now, it's odd that he's only 2-4. He only has 2 wins because he's pitched really well. In fact, he almost has not had a single bad start this year. But let me just say it again. You're not going to get many strikeouts, right? He's like 24 and 35 innings, right? So you're not getting strikeouts, and you have not gotten wins, but those are starting to come. That the Royals are actually hitting. So Wacha is safe, gets the Astros and the Cardinals, very middle of the road type of schedule. So no problems here. Wacha is totally fine and mostly available. And then I'm going to go next to Clark Schmidt of the Yankees. Clark Schmidt is a guy that, again, had an uneven start to the season, mainly because he was injured and just came back. So kind of getting his footing still underneath him. A bad start followed by a good start. I'm mostly buying in on Schmidt still long-term, but definitely buying in this week. He is on the road against the Mariners, and then he gets the Mets. So it's not a great schedule, but it's not enough to move me off of him. His last start was really good, only 2 earned runs in 6 innings. I just like Schmidt overall. I remember he had a nice season last year. I think he's a guy who could be a keeper in the sense that you don't have to just pick and choose matchups. You can keep him in there most of the time. So I'll put Schmidt in the middle for now. If the schedule was better, I'd move him up. But I do like Schmidt. And then a guy that has a great schedule and has been great next is Andrew Abbott for the Reds. So Andrew Abbott, if you look at the numbers, why doesn't everybody have this guy? 2.25 ERA, a 117 whip, and somehow a 31.6% strikeout rate. Those numbers all scream ace, basically. But we've seen Abbott before, and we know what happens. He is, as far as starting pitchers go, one of the streakiest. When he first came up with the Reds, he was on fire, like 3 or 4 starts, nobody could hit him. And then all of a sudden, regression slapped him in the face, and he had a couple of horrible starts. And you got to remember, this is a guy who wasn't even in the rotation to start the season. He's also had some injuries. There are issues here, okay? So don't let the numbers fool you too much. But at the same time, he hasn't given up an earned run in either his last 2 starts at all. So Abbott, when he's on, he is on. When he's off, he's off. This is also a guy, despite that high strikeout rate, has a 12.2% walk rate. So you don't know what you're getting here necessarily. Don't assume that he's going to be dealing. But you know what? He can do it this week because he gets the White Sox in his first start. Almost a must start there. And he gets the Guardians, his next start. Nothing to worry about. So this is definitely a week where I'm going to trust Abbott for sure. And he's available in, again, almost 2/3 of fantasy leagues. And then let's go some familiar names here. David Peterson. Need I say more? He's on the two-start streamers list almost every other week because he seems like he's making 2 starts every other week somehow. So this one, I can't move him higher. I know he's been really good this year, very solid, but the issues with Peterson, strikeout rate, yeah, okay, it's about the same as all these other guys. He doesn't go deep into games. It's usually about 5 innings. All right, so if you're in a quality starts league, that knocks him down a peg. Sometimes he will. Great chance for a win because he's with the Mets, but he doesn't go too deep usually. And then the schedule is one of those where it's really more like a one-start streamer. He gets the Pirates and he gets the Yankees. On the road, by the way, against the Yankees. So I love Peterson for 1 start this week. I mean, if you need him, you could try him against the Yankees. Just know the risk factor. And speaking of risk factor, Jackson Jobe. I'm still going to mention him. I know his last outing, and it's easy to say it was in Coors Field. We should have known. No, pitchers have dominated the Rockies in Coors, out of Coors, in the parking lot. It doesn't matter. The Rockies are worse at this point than the White Sox were last year. Like, let's not make it seem like this was a bad spot for him. But he got rocked by the Rockies. So now he gets the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. We will see. It's a home game against Boston and then a road game against Toronto. So Jobe is still a good, talented pitcher. He has still, he's still got some experience that he needs before we can really trust him. So he's just at the bottom of the 2-start streamer list this week. And then the last guy I want to mention, I don't typically talk much about Colin Ray, who's with the Cubs, but this is the week because it's the Marlins and the White Sox. Now, Colin Ray is a veteran. He's one of these guys who's very Michael Wacha-esque, the low strikeout rate. Not going to go too deep into games. But, I mean, he's been legit this season. In fact, he hasn't allowed more than 2 earned runs in a start at all. And despite that, he only has 2 wins, despite being on the Cubs, which is a great team so far, and he only has 1 quality start. And so, again, that's the knock. Despite the fact that he's on a good team, he's not getting you the wins or the quality starts and the strikeouts. So this is purely a ratios play. And, again, that doesn't help you as much when the guy only goes 5 innings. You know what I mean? But the Marlins and the White Sox. So I typically will stay away from a guy who just doesn't have the upside really to help me too much. But this week I can make an exception. I think Ray is a great add, especially if you miss out on any of those others. All right. Those are the 2-start streamers. Go out and start making your claims so you know who to get if they're there. And real quick, before I get to your questions, also need to mention, like I talked about, if you didn't know, for Colorado, Bud Black is out, longtime Rockies manager. I mean, you feel bad for him. You feel like it's not his fault. He's led this team to, in the past, winning seasons, and look at what he's got to deal with. You feel like he's kind of scapegoated here, but at the same time, I understand it. You've got to do something, and you can't overhaul the roster. They actually have kind of overhauled the roster this year. They brought up so many rookies, and they've made a lot of moves, but it's such a young team, and maybe a new voice is needed. So I think I understand this move, and Bud Black will probably catch on somewhere else pretty quickly. So don't feel too bad for him. He gets to go out of Colorado. So actually, maybe a good thing. Congrats, Bud Black. And then the Rangers, who have been right behind the Rockies in terms of badness, especially on offense. Already told you that Brett Boone a few days ago became their new offensive coordinator. And now there's some word that Jake Berger, he got demoted. He may be back. Just letting you know. I know you probably want to be a little hesitant to add him and maybe don't throw him in your lineup even if you did have him. But just so you know, this could be course correction for him. So keep an eye on Berger. It's going to be a few days before I put out another waiver wire video. But keep an eye, Jake Berger coming back. And also, last week, beat the breakout. I talked about 2 Chicago players. For the Cubs, Cade Horton, and then for the White Sox, Tim Elko. And about 3 days later, they both got the call, I think on the same day. Elko just hit a go-ahead home run against the Marlins, so doing his thing. And Cade Horton, not a great debut, but again, if not for the 1 home run he gave up, he was good otherwise. So I think in that case, the stat line is maybe not misleading, but he pitched better than the stat line looks. So still hold on to Cade Horton as long as they keep rolling with him. And he didn't start that game. Remember, he was following the opener. I think it was Brad Keller who pitched the first inning, and then Cade Horton came in and pitched like 4 innings. So I think they'll continue to stretch him out a little bit, and he can be usable in fantasy. So keep holding on there. All right. I think that's all we got to say for now. Let's get to the questions. Thank you all for waiting, and let's get to it. So Tyler Durden is first in a 14-team weekly points league. Let's see. Start 2. Meyer, Francis, Will Warren, or Ryan Weathers. All right. And yeah, actually, glad you mentioned Ryan Weathers. I talked about in the waiver wire video. He's back, and it's official now. He is back as of tomorrow, Monday. So in a 14-team weekly points league, let's see. I like Ryan Weathers, and I like adding him. I don't know if I like him in his very first start of the season against the Cubs, and that's the main thing. It's the Cubs. So it's too risky for me, and I don't think I'm going to be in on Bowden Francis much longer, if at all, ever. I'm going with Meyer still. I know Meyer has been very uneven the last couple of starts, but that White Sox game, I watched it the other day. He was actually pitching well. And again, it was just the 1 home run that Vaughn hit early. But then after that, he ran into some trouble, and I think it was the 5th. He was actually pitching well most of the game, just a couple of mistakes. I really am not too concerned about him overall. This is, again, very young pitcher. She's still figuring things out. You're going to have some uneven performances, but I still like Meyer enough. And Will Warren has shown something. I would go with those two. And then just kind of sit back and wait on Weathers. All right, and then start 1 at catcher. Let's see, Kelly, Ramirez, or Wells. That one is closer. Carson Kelly was on fire for a while. He's slowed down a little bit. I still like Augustin Ramirez. He's playing most days, but I got to go with Austin Wells. He's still hitting the top of that Yankees lineup. Yeah, pretty close here. You have 3 good options. That's actually really impressive in a 14-team league that you have 3 playable catchers. So well done there. But I'm going to go with Wells. All right, next we got Keith Santiago. What's up, Keith? Is Tony Gonsolin a keeper or a streamer? I think he's moved into keeper territory. I finally put him on the waiver wire ad, meaning don't just add temporarily, but you can add him. He's looked good so far. Yeah, I think he's a keeper. Now, am I completely sure that he's going to be a guy you're going to keep the entire season? No, but that doesn't matter right now, right? Let's not worry about September just yet. Right now, he's a keeper. I mean, who knows? Is Snell coming back anytime soon? Glass now, every pitcher that's hurt for them eventually, but right now he's a keeper. And then I had Reese Olson and Lucas Giolito. Well, it's funny. That's funny you say that. I had Reese Olson, and yeah, he got torched today. But Lucas Giolito, after getting lit up the first time by the Rangers, then he came back and had another good outing. 6 scoreless, right? Wasn't it? So you look and you say, got torched by Texas. Is this now just Texas offense actually waking up? And I think that is part of it. I think we just assumed these were cupcake matchups, which had been all season long, but now all of a sudden Texas is riding the ship, making changes that were overdue. It's working to some extent. Not every game, but now I don't think we can just take the Rangers offense for granted. So for the most part, I think Reese Olson is still just a streamer because what he is a streaky pitcher as well. He's been hot. That's why I kept rolling with him. Now I'm on the fence. I may wind up cutting him actually tomorrow for one of my other streamers that I mentioned if I can get him. Like if you're asking me right now, would I have Reese Olson over Andrew Abbott, who I talked about, or Clark Schmidt? No, I would go with Abbott or Schmidt. So I think Olson is back to just the streamer category, and Giolito, I would hold for now. I'm going to hold for now and see how the next start goes and just take it on a week-by-week basis. What's up, Carl? Crybaby. Oh, man, that's harsh. Roki Sasaki. Okay. Is Sasaki worth picking up? Sasaki has been very uneven this whole season, just like he looked like he was getting better, and then all of a sudden, another tough start. I mean, yeah, he's worth a pickup. You can pick him up as long as you know what you're getting. I mean, like a Max Meyer, one of those pitchers. He's going to look great sometimes and he's bad sometimes. It's just how it is with young pitchers. So yeah, he's worth a pickup, but you don't have to start him every time out. So if you can afford the roster space where you can keep a guy there and you can stream him when you want to, then yeah, sure. All right, Doyle. Would I trade Max Meyer and Ben Rice for Blake Snell? I like the thought process here, but not yet, because Blake Snell isn't close enough to coming back. And with a guy who's had so many injuries and setbacks happen, I want to wait until I know he's close, like really close to coming back and actually pitching for the big club. So I might be willing to do that when it's really soon, or maybe hell, even after Snell is actually back. But for right now, I don't think I'm doing that. All right, let's go back to Keith because this is a good question. Struggling to get saves. Any waiver wire suggestions? So I actually want to talk about this because I want to pull back on my Porter Hodge recommendation. So Porter Hodge is getting save opportunities. He actually got a save. I think it was yesterday, the other day, and then he blew a save and he looked really bad and got torched. But even when he isn't coming out with bad outcomes, I'm a little worried. Okay, so let me explain this. So yesterday I got to actually watch some baseball for a while, and I watched Porter Hodge come in and pitch. I was watching that game because I wanted to see Cubs Mets, right? It's a great game. So I watched that, and he just looked a little all over the place. And he already knowing that the walk rate is high, because Hodge, that's the one thing I said, even when I was endorsing him basically as a pickup on the waiver wire video, is he's got a high walk rate. It was like 13%. And then I'm watching him, and he almost uncorked a wild pitch, and he was in the dirt, and he was all over the place, and he walked one batter, and then he got hit hard. And so watching him again, I'm like, this doesn't make me feel good as a guy who might be out there and be a ninth inning option. And I'm like, maybe this is why they got Ryan Presley, and maybe this is why they haven't given Hodge the ball in the ninth inning regularly. And so I'm kind of hesitant to recommend him. And also, a couple weeks ago, we want the Arizona closer, right? Who's Arizona closer? Well, Puck's hurt, Martinez is hurt, so it's Ginkel. And Ginkel, man, he gave it up the other day. And so now I want to pull that one back too. And so now I'm thinking, look, maybe it's better not to chase saves if it's just going to wind up hurting you. Because, I know this is it's not my first time around the block. Like, I know closers on fringy closers, and especially on bad teams, just don't do well. But these are closers on really good teams, and these are known guys. Right? Kevin Ginkel has been around forever. He's been solid. So for him to look this bad is kind of puzzling. And then Porter Hodge looked good last year, but man, they are not looking good this year. And so let's take a step back and say, okay, let's pick up a closer if we think he can actually help our team, not just by picking up the random save, but by not killing us in ratios. And so I've actually been holding on to Tommy Conley, however you say it, of the Tigers. And he doesn't have but 5 saves, but he's actually helping my ratios. He does not give up hits or runs. And he can get you a save once in a while. Will Vest has been solid. Those guys aren't going to get you that many saves, but they're not hurting you, if you know what I mean. And I think I'm going to start deprioritizing these closers du jour, if you will, because this is the time of the year where, if a team doesn't have a closer, if they have 2 or 3 closers, they don't have any closers kind of thing. The Marlins maybe are going to Jesus Tinoco, and he's a guy I did like before the season as a sleeper, like a dark horse. I'm not completely sold on him, but if you're desperate for saves and you want a guy, I might look to Tinoco. But otherwise, man, even Luke Weaver, right? Luke Weaver has been amazing all season. It looked like, oh, he's the closer now. And then he finally gave up his first run of the season. He hasn't been getting saves, even though, Devin Williams hasn't either. So Camilo Doval should be getting saves, and yet they keep going to Ryan Walker, and Ryan Walker keeps getting hit hard. So it's like, who knows? I don't know. Let's remain patient here and say, you know what? You don't have to get a save, only option just for the sake of having one. All right, that rant went way longer than it should have. What's up? Luis Correa. Is Torkelson worth a hold? With sluggers, they get hot and cold. Hot to start the season. He's cooled off big time, but it doesn't mean he can't come back to hitting home runs. So I wouldn't drop him just yet. If you can sell high, absolutely do it. Always sell high if you can, but that might be a good idea with Torkelson. All right, finally, Eddie Buzz. What's up, Eddie? Now, someone had said, do you trust Byron Buxton? Thoughts on Byron Buxton? It was Doyle. And Eddie, you basically nailed it. I'm not trusting Byron Buxton. If I have him, am I selling high? Absolutely. You can keep him from now. But man. Okay. BZ24. Jack Flaherty. So glad you mentioned this. Tomorrow's video is going to be keep trade cut. Jack Flaherty is going to be the one starting pitcher I talk about. So I don't want to spoil it, but I also don't want to keep you hanging as far as your waiver wire question. Yeah, I'm going to pick him up because I'm not too worried. I think he's worth holding on to. I don't see any big red flags that make me think like he's toast. As long as he's healthy and he seems to be, I think I would take a chance on him. All right, DJ Storm, this is the question I would love the answer to. What has happened to Bryce Miller? Now I feel bad saying that I was buying low on him, and I actually regret holding on to him still. I'm not dropping him, though. So that said, there's something going on here, but nobody knows. Unless there's some physical issue, they put him on the IL real soon. I guess I wouldn't be surprised, but there's something going on here. Man, Bryce Miller is just not the same guy. It's like night and day, really. He's gone from one of the best control pitchers in the game to all of a sudden just being all over the place. I mean, he looks nothing like the same guy. So I don't know what has happened to him, but clearly something. So I mean, definitely bench him. You just can't start him until something drastic changes. And again, it wouldn't shock me if we see an IL stint pretty soon. And maybe a lot of times you take for granted, these guys can pitch through injury or the team isn't going to do this if they don't have to. Sometimes it's a case where they will do this because it's like soreness or, it's just to give this guy a break. I mean, just to get a reset, and they can't send him down, so this is just a way to give him a little mental break. I hope they do that, that's what needs to happen here. But I have no idea what has happened to Bryce Miller. Let's see. James Coffee. What's up, James? All right, so Ranger Suarez came back and had his first start and got torched, and then he came back and pitched scoreless game. I mean, talk about night and day. So, the truth is going to be somewhere in between. He'll be up and down. But if he's right, I mean, we saw what he's capable of. He is definitely somebody who you should be picking up if he's available. We can't just assume he's going to go back to being, early last year version of himself. But at the same time, this is a veteran. This is a guy who has been proven against MLB competition. You don't have to worry as much. So, yeah, I would say pick him up if he's out there. El Diablo. Hey, drop Adames. This is one of those tough ones. This is kind of like, with Marcus Semien. It's like, you don't want to drop him, not just because of where you drafted him, but also because of, what he can do. This is a good player, right? It's just having a rough season. Well, with Semien, it's pretty easy. I put him on the cut list because we had seen him trend down for the last couple of years, and the upside isn't there. Adames is younger. Adames, the thing is, he's going to, he went to a new team, right? He's in a new situation. I didn't like it. Don't like the home park. Don't like the line of context. I know he's not going to run as much. All of this has been true. Now, with that said, he still has power. He still can produce runs. So I don't know if he's someone who's an outright drop unless you're in a really shallow league. But it's like you can't start him either because he isn't doing anything for you. I would only drop him if you have a replacement who is going to be better for the rest of the season. And that really depends. Tyler, does Bubba get to call next week? I think so. Everybody thinks so. That's why I said stash him a week ago. If you can, this is probably your last call. It was exactly a year ago today, actually. I think it was May 11th, exactly a year ago. Paul Skeens made his debut. So everyone just assumes it's Bubba's time. Why not? I mean, come on. Pirates just fired their manager. It's time for something for the fans to look forward to. Give them Bubba. I think it's going to be very soon. If it's not this week, probably next week. All right, let's see. I don't want to repeat any questions we've already had. All right, let's see. Yes. Hey, Anthony. All right, well, let's talk about Kolek for the Padres. Now, if you stashed him before his debut, you're loving life, right? If you happen to start him before yesterday, yeah, I mean, amazing. But this is where we have to now take a look, step back, and say it was the Rockies. I mean, how many teams are going to lose 21-0, right? This year, so they let him out there because there was no competition. It was like a little league game. So I don't want to buy too much into this. And also, if you remember in San Diego, Kyle Hart, the guy who came over from Korea, and he, in his debut, I think pitched like 5 scoreless. He looked really good. And in his very next outing, he got blasted. And then he looked good. And like, okay, Kolek is worth a speculative stash, but I'm not going to read too much into just last night. So let's wait and see. Let's see it again against an actual major league lineup. Uwe is finally in the chat. Uwe 2K. Who's a better reliever in points? Interesting, because Shane Smith, not actually a reliever. I mean, look, Shane Smith, I actually was watching that game again, being unfortunately a Marlins fan. So I was watching the Marlins White Sox game. Shane Smith is just, I mean, the guy he knows what he's doing. He's in command of the strike zone. He's confident out there. He doesn't waste time. I like Shane Smith. Just watching him made me like him more. Nothing wrong with Estevez, obviously being the closer there, but in a points league, you want the guy who's going to get you more innings. The strikeout rate's not crazy high. The only bad thing with Shane Smith, of course, he will not get wins because obviously White Sox. So I still think I like Shane Smith in points, though. All right, here's a good question. Ronnie Ogosuku, how about Polanco? Legit or sell high? I'm kind of in between there. We know this is legit because we've seen him do it before, right? Veteran. He's had some really good offensive seasons. Really, the only issues, he's had a bunch of injuries, including this season. Remember, he was relegated to DH only status because his elbow, I think they wouldn't let him take the field, and now he's finally back. But he's been a big part of the Mariners' resurgence. We know he can hit for average. He's got some power. So I would say legit. Now, at the same time, he's not going to keep hitting the way he's been hitting all season. He's going to eventually cool down, and he's kind of started already. So if you can sell high, and I did recommend this the other day, actually on the buy low video. I think I threw Polanco out there as, a potential candidate if, again, I know you're like, nobody's going to do it. Look, people do crazy things. Junior Caminero has been pretty quiet lately. If someone looks at Polanco's numbers, look at Caminero's numbers. Polanco's been better. Give me Polanco. Do it. I would take Caminero. So I would sell high to get a player like that. But I'm not going to sell high on Polanco to get someone who's just very similar. Vision. Who gets called up first? Matt Shaw or Jordan Lawler? No, never. We're talking baseball. That's the topic. Who gets called up first? Well, it seems like Shaw is going to be, not that the Cubs need help, but I think they're going to give him another shot fairly soon. The Diamondbacks are really, really slow playing Jordan Lawler. He, of course, had a serious injury. He was gone for a while. He's been on fire this year in the minors, but they don't really have a spot for him either. Perdomo has been great. Perdomo, they're set now at shortstop with Perdomo. Suarez at third has been mashing. Ketel Marte is back. There really isn't a spot for Lawler, and I don't imagine they bring him up just to DH because they like their platoon there. So I think they keep Lawler down a while longer. It's why I haven't mentioned him on the Beat the Breakout yet this season, because I'm waiting for some sign that they actually might call him up. It's going to take an injury, and injuries happen, but I think that aside, I think it's going to be a little bit longer for Lawler, maybe midsummer, and I think Shaw gets the call sooner. All right, there's Michael, always with us. Would you trade Brian Reynolds, Devin Williams, and Reese Olson for Dylan Cease and Spencer Steer? Yes, Definitely. I probably would do that just for Dylan Cease. Look, Reese Olson is fine. He's been hot, but he's just a streamer, right? It's not really, I don't see much trade value with Reese Olson. Devin Williams has already lost his job. Maybe he gets it back. Maybe he just struggles all year. And then Brian Reynolds has been, pretty disappointing this season. He's also, I just don't think we see the same fantasy production from Brian Reynolds that we used to see in the past. Give me Dylan Cease. Yeah, I would take Cease, and you get Steer to replace some of those offensive stats. Yes, I'm going to do that. And let's see. There's another trade question from Michael. Would you trade Westberg and Sears for Gore? I would do that. Sears, again, solid, but really just a back-end rotation arm for your fantasy team, and more of a streamer, maybe slightly above streamer status, but not much. I think he's fine. But give me Gore, his league-leading strikeouts. And then Westberg, I'm not giving up on Westy. I like him, but of course he's hurt. He's not helping you right now, and who knows? That Baltimore offense as a whole is just very questionable. So yeah, I'm going to go with Gore. Give me the upside of Gore. All right, let's see what else. Timmy Tam. All right, Timmy, who should I drop when Spencer Strider returns? Garrett Crochet, no. Schwellenbach, no. Baz Wu, Skeens, Horton, Joe Ryan, Bo Chandler. I hate to say I don't want to drop any of those guys. If you're going to drop one, it's going to be a rookie. It's either Horton or Chandler. You cannot drop any of those other players. Now, if this week Shane Baz looks really bad again, then yes, fine. Give him the axe. But until then, I would say let's drop Horton. And don't do this until Spencer Strider returns. Like, don't preemptively do this. Like, oh, he's a week away. Wait until the day before, the day of his activation. Wait until you have to drop somebody, and then you do it. But it would be one of the rookies. There's no reason to drop any of those other guys, again, unless Baz is really bad again. All right, Anthony wants to know which Ranger, Evan Carter or Jake Berger. Evan Carter is very interesting. I'm very reluctantly kind of buying back into him. I mentioned this in the video. I was suckered. Like I got sucked in. I was one. I drafted him last year. It was too high, and he stunk, and that was a wasted draft pick. And so he is finally back. He's doing a little something. I don't want to go all in on him again just yet, but I'll throw out a few bucks and see if I can get him. I'll stash him in leagues where I have room. Okay, I'm not going to go all in. But I'm not giving up on Jake Berger. I'm not. These guys have cold streaks. He's a slugger. It happens. The Rangers, as a whole, were horrible in April. They've gotten better. He's gotten better. So I'm going to, right now, prefer Jake Berger and then see what happens with him. Ooh, it's a tough one. All right, Tim. Yeah, Eflin came off the IL, was solid. I think he pitched 5 innings, gave up like 2 runs today, if I'm correct. Drop Bryce Miller. It's a 10-team league. I'm not wanting to drop Bryce Miller, but it's a 10-teamer. I think you can afford to do this because, realistically, no one's running out to pick him up, I don't think, unless he has a get right game, and even then you need to see it first. So I'll allow this. I hate it. It's painful. If you want to drop Bryce Miller in 10-teamer, that's fine. Oh man. All right. What about Tile Blaster? A little worried now that Christian Campbell is in dry spell. All right. So you guys always nail this. So on tomorrow's video, I'm talking about Christian Campbell. He's on my list. Jack Flaherty's on the list. A couple other players we haven't talked about yet. A couple of surprises. I don't think he's going back to the minors. I don't think, because he has not been that bad lately. He's gotten cold, but look at the season average. It's still 264. And the one thing that I will point out when I talk about him at length is the plate discipline is actually pretty good. He's not chasing a whole lot. He's not struggling per se. He was hot to start the season. He's cooled off. It's just normal. and it's just a game of adjustments. And so I think pitchers have adjusted to him. He's going to adjust back. If he can't, then okay, then we have an issue, and he's not going to pan out. But it's way too early to say that. I think he'll be fine. He just has to learn how to hit the breaking balls, hit the off-speed pitches. That's all. No, but honestly, that's what I did notice. Realistically, I'm going to look at it. I'll just give you a bit of the information I'm going to share for the video. He's hitting 306 against fastballs. That includes both four-seamers and sinkers. He's doing really well. And 214 against breaking pitches and 200 against off-speed pitches. So what's going to happen, right? You got a guy, young hitter, got great bat speed and got some pop. He's got good speed, around the bases. He's hitting the fastballs. So what are pitchers going to start doing? Feeding him a diet of sliders and changeups, and he's struggling against them. I think he'll figure it out. So I don't think he gets sent down. I think he's here to stay, and I think he'll get better. Bob Noxious, what is up? It is live. Now your comment's not live because this was about 20 minutes ago, but I'm still catching up. So glad to have you here, Bob. What's up, Eddie? It's always here. Eddie, the first comment a lot of times. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody else. And you know what? I love that you said that. I'm glad that you don't agree with me 100% of the time, because that means you're not thinking for yourself. Because you know what? I decided to start doing this for, baseball. Of course, Chris and I do it for football, because, following other people's advice blindly just means you're going to wind up with the same results that they are, which may or may not be better than your own. But I like to get a diverse variety of opinions. So I hope I'm not the only person that you listen to or watch, for fantasy advice. And I hope you just look at the numbers too. Don't just listen to people. Look at the numbers. That's what I do. I stopped listening and looking and, reading other people's opinions as much. And I started just looking at the numbers myself and saying, I think I can figure out what the trends are and who's hot and who's not and what to do. And I'm not always right, because nobody is. Absolutely nobody is. So I hope you take what I have researched and take that for what it's worth and incorporate it with your own research. And that's the best way to do it. All right, let's move on and get to some other questions here. Some quick ones here. Degen Diaries. Pick up Kershaw? No, thanks. I don't think I'm going to do that. If you want to, go for it. I'm not. I'm done. Out. I don't want to see him, go out for 3 innings, and really, what is the needle going to move for you at all? Is he going to be out there and throw 6 or 7 innings and strike out 10 guys? It's done, guys. No, I can't do that. All right. I said it was quick, but it wasn't too quick. Okay, I already answered some of these. Trying to catch up here. Eddie throwing out Jordan Romano. Oh man, talk about done. I was done with that guy a couple weeks ago. Hey, if you're desperate for saves, give him a shot. I think I'm moving on from Romano, but man, the closing game is always frustrating. All right, let's go to Dylan Delay, TJ Friedl, or Cedric Mullins. That's a good question, Dylan. That's a really interesting pair of players there, because, Cedric Mullins has the track record. He has the numbers this season, was really good to start out, but he's definitely slowing down. And Tyler O'Neill is back off the IL. Wonder if that impacts Mullins' playing time at all. TJ Friedl is a guy I've cooled off on as well, though. I mean, I think his main calling card will be he'll get you some steals, and he does have some power. But I think what we saw a couple of years ago was, I don't want to say like a mirage, but I'm not seeing that coming back necessarily. He's a semi-useful player. I still prefer Mullins. Friedl will have his moments, but yeah, this is close. Right now, I'd still go with Mullins. Pagan, Doyle wants to know about Emilio Pagan, back to the closer deal. Yeah, he's he's still the closer. He's still getting saves. Alexa Diaz isn't coming back real soon. They got nobody else. So yeah, Pagan has definitely got a hold. Um, he's fine. Okay, speaking of Tyler O'Neill, Tim wants to know to drop Tyler O'Neill for Hunter Goodman. Now, normally you'd think that would be silly, but look at what Hunter Goodman has done lately. And here's the thing with Hunter Goodman. Again, assuming this is the case in your league, which I think it is for all platforms, you can put him at catcher. Yeah, I like a catcher who can rake, and he's been in the lineup pretty much every day. And Tyler O'Neill will be there most every day. But Tyler O'Neill also is really good at doing what he just did, and that's going on the injured list. So, yeah, do this. Give me Hunter Goodman. And DJ Storm also wants about Justin Slayton. Holds league, yes. Holds league is fine. I had somewhat endorsed him earlier in the season. I said he looked like a good waiver pickup, maybe for the Red Sox. This is another one of these committees. He's fine, but not great. In a holds league, though, yeah, definitely has value there. All right, what else we got? All right, Dario, I've seen this a couple times about Alcantara. People wonder about Sandy Alcantara. Okay, so Dario Guerrero wants to know, what do you do? And I'm probably not going to discuss Sandy on this week's Keep Trade Cut because I just discussed him not that long ago. And I don't like to talk about the same players over and over again. But things have changed, sort of. Now, Sandy today, oh man, I just realized that he pitched, right? It was today he pitched. I could have worn my Sandy shirt. Sandy was really good until the one inning and the one pitch, which led to the home run, right? He was actually looking like his old self, though. He was good. Now, it is the White Sox. Okay, so and even against the White Sox, he still wound up giving, 4 earned runs up. So it's still not a big victory, but he looked more like himself. I will just say this. If you're in a 12-team league or deeper, if you can afford to be patient, you can keep rostering him and start him in good matchups and then just kind of wait until the middle of the season. If you can't afford to do that or you just don't want to do that, it's fine. You don't have to keep him. You can drop him. I'm going to try to hold on to him in as many places as I can, but I am not going to say you absolutely have to hold him. All right, Ryan Blumrider wants to know, will Luzardo bounce back? Yeah, I mean, look, when a guy is so dominant for the first several starts, he's bound, right? Every pitcher is bound to have a bad game. He finally, not dominant. He's fine. I'm not selling Luzardo despite his great start because we know what he's capable of. He could always do this. He just hadn't been consistent. He had some injuries, like every pitcher. So no, I don't think I'm gonna sell him. All right, Ryan's got a couple other questions. Let's do these. Thoughts on Gleyber Torres? I honestly have not thought about Gleyber Torres in any way for a while, so I really don't think about Gleyber Torres. Like he's fine, but I'm sure we can find somebody better. Sal Perez or Adley Rutschman? I'm gonna still stick with Sal until I see Rutschman do more than once. Of course, it's funny. I've had Rutschman in our endgame league or endgame head-to-head league as my catcher. I was so happy I got such a good catcher. And finally, today, I actually benched him for the first time all season. I put him on my bench, even though I knew he was playing, because I had picked up Augustin Ramirez playing the White Sox. I was like, okay, fine. This guy's done nothing. And so, of course, you know how it goes. Put him on the bench. He had, 2 hits, I think RBI or 2. I'll stick with Sal, though. I think the way that offense is going until Rutschman does it for more than a game. Joshua Garcia, should I take a trade where I give up James Wood for Seth Lugo? Absolutely not. You do not give up James Wood for a guy like Seth Lugo. If you want to give up James Wood for a pitcher, it better be like a Dylan Cease or a Spencer Strider, maybe even somebody who's close to ace level, if not ace level. No, do not do this for Seth Lugo. You can pick up Andy Pajes, but don't do this. All right, BZ, is you Darvish we're stashing? Yes. Going to talk about him pretty soon. He's not quite coming back. It might be a couple weeks, but he's getting there. And if you want to grab Darvish, probably you can't wait too much longer. Is Bednar worth Bednar? No. Bednar's the setup guy. He's no. I have zero interest on David Bednar. Not quite dead to me completely, but pretty close. All right, let's see who else. All right, Ryan got a lot of questions. Let's do okay, let's do one of these. Buxton, Nootbaar, or Grisham. I'm the guy I'm least confident in here is Grisham. It's great start to the season, good for him. No thanks. Buxton, you know, if you have him, I don't know if you're asking which guy to pick up or which guy to hold. If you have Buxton, just try to trade him now. I would actually hold Nootbaar. That would be the guy I like. All right, Desmond, aka Desmond. With Tovar coming back, would you rather keep Pena or him? Oh, okay, now. This is a good one, Desmond. Good one. I've been stashing Tovar in our endgame league. I'd like to keep Tovar, but I think I've now talked myself into Pena over Tovar. Now, I liked Pena preseason. In fact, Pena was on my what was it? Values, preseason values video. I liked Pena as a late middle infield shortstop option. I still like Pena, and look what he's done. He's moved up to leadoff in the Astros lineup. He's scoring runs. He's driving in runs. He gets you a little bit of power, some stolen bases, but he does a little bit of everything, and that's what I like. He's helping in all 5 categories. Now, I like Tovar's upside, and typically I go with upside, but not only the fact that he's been injured, but he was pretty bad before he got injured. And Tovar all last year was really bad. In fact, among qualified hitters, he had one of the worst, I believe, top or bottom 5 ex-WOBA. And that concerns me. I don't want a guy to come in and tank my average. Now, the Rockies are finally sort of trying. Of course, you watched last night, and you know it's hard to say that. But yeah, Tovar is very risky. So I think I would rather keep Pena for now. All right, Ryan, one more. This is too interesting to pass up. Was just offered Manny Machado for DeGrom and Suarez. Well, I know I'll take Machado over Suarez. Man, but DeGrom and Suarez. I think with the way DeGrom is pitching and not getting hurt yet, I think that might be a little too much. You know, the risk aversion, you know, is tempting. Just say, let's just go with the safe guy you know is going to be out there every day. You know he's going to put up numbers. You get Machado, you're set and forget. Suarez is going to be up and down. DeGrom, you know, like at any moment, you know, you almost worry that the arm is going to go out. But I think the way DeGrom is pitching, I think I'm going to keep him for now. So this is tempting, but I don't think I'm going to do it. All right, and then let's go to Tyler Durden again, who's first one up here. Same 14-team weekly league. Pick 2. Bo Sheets, Kelly, Gustin, Nate Lowe, or Cal Manzardo. Let's see here. I don't want to pick one of those catchers like Kelly because Amaya's in the mix. You know, he's not going to get as many at-bats. And Ramirez, I don't think I like him better than those guys. In a points league, actually, Nate Lowe is not super exciting, but probably your safest high floor option in points league. I think I might go Sheets. Actually, the way the Padres are hitting, I think I'm going to go Lowe and Sheets. Now I think about it. Ronnie wants to know, hang on to Stowers? Yes. Stowers had a cold snap. Oh, right. Guy got red hot. So, of course, what goes up must come down. But then we saw last night, he hit a home run. I think he'll be fine. Keep Stowers. So Joshua knows James Wood a sell high. No. Projections, I know, are useful to some extent. But again, projections are always conservative. And they are not, you know, meant to be completely 100% accurate. They're estimations. this guy has the capability to be one of the best outfielders in the game, and so it's not a sell high. No, don't sell him. City by the Bay. So I have been able to hold off talking about Javi Baez, and I think I'm going to keep that streak going. Hey, if suddenly he out of nowhere has like a career renaissance, good for him. Good for him. Shane Baz or Clark Schmidt? Well, I think I answered this at the beginning because I ranked them. I'm going Baz first. Again, there's some risk here based on how bad he's been. I didn't find any reason, and I didn't find any reason to be overly concerned to think that he's going to continue to be horrible his next 2 starts. If it happens, you know what? I'll take the L for you. But I think I gotta like Baz better this week. All right, let's see. Do a few more questions here. I'm not quite to an hour. I want to make sure I get to a lot of different people who put in comments on here. Well, okay, actually, I say that. Let's go to Eddie. Yeah, Tobias Myers. Yeah, Tobias Myers was always overachieving last year. Guys didn't strike out that many batters. He relied a lot on batted ball luck. So that's why I was not in on him this year. 18-team league, I feel you. Yeah, I wouldn't go with the Luis May. Nothing against Uncle Ted, but yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. I think we can find another inning eater type instead of Myers. You can move on from Myers, though. Okay, let's see what else. Ooh, Timmy, that's a good one. Trade Christian Campbell for Jacob Wilson. Now, I'm not worried per se about Christian Campbell. I don't think he's going to get demoted, and I don't think that he's going to continue to struggle. But give me Jacob Wilson. The guy's a hitting machine. He has proven it. Yeah, Campbell's, I guess, more exciting, and he gets you a little bit more in terms of power, speed, ceiling. But give me the guy who is going to hit way over 300 and now is finally at the top of that order. Yeah, I would take Jacob Wilson. Gabriel Ortiz wants to know about Ben Lively versus the Brewers. I'm not a big Ben Lively guy because it's pretty ironic, his name, since he has not exactly a lively arm. He's more of a soft tosser who does not strike anybody out. He also relies a lot on his defense. I just don't like the upside here. Give me somebody else. All right. Frank. What's up, Frank? Lively. Okay. Talked about him. Simeon Woods Richardson. Actually, we haven't talked about Woods Richardson much at all this year. Woods Richardson is, again, another one of these kind of boring, inning eater types. He doesn't strike out a lot of batters. I kind of liked him last year a lot for his floor that he would give. But, I'm only going to stream him in great matchups. This week, he's fine. He's fine. I guess I could say I'd put him a slight notch below the guys I mentioned, the David Peterson, Colin Ray types. So he's serviceable. I would prefer him still over Lively if those are your choices. Tim wants to know Jung Ho Lee or George Springer rest of the season. You know what? That's an interesting comp, those two players. Actually kind of looking similar in terms of their profile. Give me Lee. I think I just like Lee's spot in his situation a little bit better. Springer has been hitting for average again. We didn't think he would get back to like the 300s, but he has. But I wonder, how long will that last? So I'm a little bit more confident in Lee right now. Okay, this is an interesting question. Ray Jr. Okay, besides Skins, what Pirates should I grab? That is an interesting question. So we're looking to grab a Pittsburgh Pirate just to have a Pittsburgh Pirate. That's an interesting strategy. If you're looking for pitchers, I don't know if you're asking specifically for like, hey, who's the next young pitcher? Okay. Bubba Chandler. If you didn't know Bubba Chandler, I mean, yes, Bubba Chandler's the guy to add. Jared Jones, somebody asked earlier. He's not coming back real soon. I'm not going to bother stashing him just yet. So no, I'm not going to worry about that. I don't know if there's any other pitchers that are really worth your time. We saw Thomas Harrington a little bit earlier. He's more of just a floor play, but yeah, I don't think I'm buying into him. So I really don't know if there's an answer to this besides Chandler. I would just say go get Bubba Chandler if you can. Uwe, Shane Smith, or Kolek? Definitely Shane Smith. Absolutely Shane Smith. Let's see. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that, Beezy. Levan Poe. Who are you getting in return for Perdomo? That's a good question because I wonder, Perdomo's not a name that a lot of people who aren't, I would say, pretty hardcore into baseball or fantasy really know that much about. I mean, he's been with Arizona, but he was never really fantasy relevant for more than just, stretches as a streamer last year. Not a guy you expected to be where he's at this year in terms of ranking, not an everyday starter. So I wonder if his name value is enough, in other words. Like, I feel like even with like Jorge Polanco, who hasn't quite been as good statistically as Perdomo and had injuries, but he's hitting really well. He has, I think, a little bit more name value. I don't know how much you could get for Perdomo that makes it worth trading him. You know what I mean? So my answer to this is probably not enough. I think what you might get in return wouldn't be enough, but never hurts to find out, right? Throw out some offers and see what you can get. I don't know what position you're looking for, what type of player you're looking for, but don't expect a star player. Nothing close to a star player. So I just don't know if it's worth it, to be honest. All right, Anthony, first of all, he did have a question about Max Meyer. I talked about briefly, but super chat. Appreciate you. No, I think I should be thanking you. Thank all of you, not just for the super chat, but thank y'all for watching. So get back to the question here. Where is it? Just saw it. All right, Max Meyer. I did talk about him briefly earlier. He was pretty much cruising along yesterday until that final inning, ran into a little bit of trouble. It's just that inconsistency that all young pitchers have. I'm not giving up on him. I know the good comes with the bad. It's easy to forget the good because that was a couple of weeks ago, and we're just looking at the last couple of starts. I think he'll be better, so I'm keeping him. Okay, let's go to DJ Storm again. Would you pick up Cronenworth and drop Semien? Yes, I would. I said to drop Semien about 2 weeks ago. I don't think anybody who did that has any regrets because he has done almost nothing since then. I don't mind dropping Semien. And then Levan, you want to know about Andrew Abbott? I have him as one of my top 2-start streamers for this week. And so not the top. I think I got him number 6. Although now that I look at it, I actually might flip that. I might put him over Clark Schmidt just based on the schedule. So I like Abbott a lot. I'm not going to assume you're going to want to start him all season, but this week I like him a lot. Let's see. Uwe 2K, Sheets or Hayes? Both guys have been pleasant surprises. Right now, I'll prefer Sheets. Just for right now. I still like Hayes right now. Sheets. Am I worried about Butler? Not too much. I haven't mentioned him as a panic player. I don't think, I think as long as you kept your expectations somewhat realistic this year and the way he was drafted, you shouldn't have expected him to have a full season like the second half of last season. But no, I'm not too worried. I think he's kind of still doing his thing. Good question. Paul Matthews. Was Nick Kurtz overhyped? Is there a frontline prospect who gets called up to the big leagues not overhyped? any of these guys, they're all overhyped. Of course they are, because we love prospects. We love seeing these guys get their chance, get their call up to the show what they can do. Of course, they're always overhyped. And very rarely do they actually produce up to expectations. And then we forget about them, and then we drop them and say, that guy was a bust. This is just the way it is. So yes, he was overhyped, but do I think he's worth holding on to? I do. I'm holding on to him in leagues where I picked him up or overpaid for him, because again, it's just the start of his major league career. He'll make adjustments, he'll get comfortable, he'll get better. The Paul Skeens of the world, the Mike Trouts, the guys who just come up and are automatic superstars in the rookie season, that is very rare. It doesn't even happen once a year. So of course he was overhyped, but I still like him. Salt of the earth. I think. Oh, okay. So you're got a trade here. Duran. Am I seeing right? You got closers here. Duran, Clase, and Campbell for Carroll and Henderson. So again, salt of the earth. I'll make sure I'm reading this right. 2 closers and a rookie for 2 superstar first round picks. I'm gonna lean heavily on the Carroll and Henderson side. If you're getting that side, then I hope that you go accept that deal right now. Like, you have permission to get off the stream and go make that trade. I'm not sure how desperate someone must be for saves to give up 2 of their best players for that, but do it. Don't do it if it's the other side. If you got Carroll and Henderson, don't do that. All right, let's just do a couple more here. Roy Contreras, welcome, Roy. Helio Ramos or Brandon Nimmo? You know what? I've been team Helio basically all season, preseason, and it's funny. And he's not on here. Like, I would, give him a hard time. Chris tends to get impatient with baseball. He dropped Helio Ramos like 2 weeks ago, I think, and he's probably regretting that because Ramos has been pretty hot over the past week. Yeah, I like Ramos. He's legit, right? He's staying up. He can do it pretty much all. Nimmo had that ridiculous game, of course, but that's inflated his numbers. He's still good, but give me Ramos. I already answered this, but D-Rock Will, is Jared Jones worth a stash? Maybe in a month or 2, but no, not yet. Frank, I have not checked my NFBC bids yet. I got it open. You missed out on Brett Beatty 22. I think that's fine. I don't know what your budget is. Let me see. I threw $7 towards Brett Beatty. No, $9. I missed out on me one for 25. Oh well. Unfortunately, I won. Unfortunately, it looks like I won on Evan Carter. So here we go again. I guess I'm back in on Evan Carter. Now, just because I picked him up doesn't mean I have to start him, but I got him. So there you go. All right. Let's see. What else? Chandler. Hey, Chandler. Welcome back. Adley was dropped. Yes. Add him. No, because one thing I talked about last week, if you watched that video with Adley Rutschman, way underperforming his expected batting average. This guy is a good hitter. Right? He hasn't been good so far this season, but he shouldn't have been dropped. Pick him up. He's already maybe even starting to turn around. Like I said, just today, he had 2 hits. Pick him up. Absolutely. And then Dylan wants to know Pajes or Mullins. I'm going to go with Andy Pajes. Do I like Shane Smith? Exactly. I like him. I'm not going to start him against the Yankees, but that goes for most fringe pitchers. Dario Kikuchi. No, nobody asked about Kikuchi, actually. Yeah, I understand why he was dropped. Now, Kikuchi is also one of these pitchers who tends to be super streaky. He'll put together 3 or 4 starts. You're like, this guy is an ace. And then you realize quickly he is not, because he'll get tagged for about 2 or 3 starts in a row. So here we are, and you wonder, when does the pendulum swing the other way? So I can stream him. I've always been leery of Kikuchi because again, I feel like he's always fool's gold. And I still feel like he is. And look at the whip, 146. That's the thing that just kills you. He tends to get, when he gets hit, right? Like there's no in between with him. It's pretty much all or nothing. But his last outing was good. Just proceed with caution. Look, if you want to do it, go ahead. I don't have the stomach for Kikuchi. I usually don't, but man, if you miss out on everybody else I already talked about, then I guess. And then let's do the last three more. Joseph, I'm not going to answer this. What's the deal with Albies? Because you'll find out tomorrow morning tomorrow afternoon, I should say, when the video comes out, because Ozzy Albies is also on my list. So I'm going to talk in detail about him. Adam Miller, Kurtz for Cruz, 1-for-1. Easy answer for this one. In the exact same league, actually our endgame league, where I'm going up against guys like Anthony and Ural. I kept Kurtz. I dropped Cruz. I had enough. Finally, I'm like, okay, he's not hitting. How long am I going to hold on? All he's giving me is steals. I don't need the steals. I got Chandler Simpson. I dropped Cruz. I kept Kurtz. Give me Kurtz right now. Oh, the best comment all night. Thank you, Adam. Hit the like button. Absolutely. Give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed for some reason yet, definitely subscribe, guys. We'll be here every week throughout the entire season, trying to help you, but most importantly, to answer your questions, try to help you with your team. JP Breaks. Thank you. Appreciate the super chat. For Dynasty, 2 years Gavin Williams, for 1 year Suzuki. You know, I was very optimistic about Gavin Williams before this season, but I also figured, you know, you don't want to say make or break, right? Not for him, it's not. But for me and the way I view him in fantasy, kind of. I need to see that step forward and you see that consistency, and we haven't. I mean, he's got the goods, but the consistency is absolutely not there. Give me the 1 year Suzuki. Guy I think can help you right now. I mean, I'm not out on Gavin Williams, but again, I'm just very, very leery about trusting him, and I probably am not going to change that this whole year. Ooh. All right. Papa Giorgio. Ellie is killing me with his Ks. It's time to find a shot for a different shortstop. Look, the Ellie experience is that. Get you a ton of steals. He'll definitely help you with power runs. Everything except for batting average, right? The batting average will definitely fluctuate. If you're in a points league, because is that why you're saying that the Ks are killing you? In a points league, he definitely is less valuable than a roto league. So if you're in a points league, I don't mind shopping him as long as you get a stud in return. You absolutely need to get a stud in return. You know, I would say in a points league, I prefer Trey Turner to Elliot De La Cruz, but you better not get less than a Trey Turner for Elliot De La Cruz. So I understand this. Look, I'm not going to say Ellie is absolutely do not trade, do not, you know, like you have to. Don't drop him, of course. Absolutely don't drop him, but I'm okay if you want to shop around as long as you get fair value in return. Beasy, Austin Wells is available. Add him and trade Yonner. I mean, if you can get something for Yonner, sure. I don't know if he's quite there yet, but he is looking like his old self. I liked Yonner Diaz a lot before the season. He's finally looking like himself. So if you can get something for Yonner, sure. I'm okay doing that. Gianmarco Acevedo. Welcome. I have Gunnar and Ellie. Should I try trading Ellie for Tatis? Yes. Now, you say a package. I don't know what that package involves. That definitely is where I say it depends. Don't give up too much. If honestly, though, I know, okay, so Tatis has been like pretty terrific this year. So maybe you're not getting Ellie Tatis straight up. Try it first. Ellie definitely has the name value. Ellie is still a fantasy stud. Maybe if you have to throw in something, but yes, I think this is a smart move. Adam Miller, Seager for Ellie. Look, I like Corey Seager. He is a great hitter. But he's what, one IL stint down. How many does he have left this season? Maybe another 2 or 3. Yeah, give me Ellie still. I don't think that's a straight up fair trade. I mean, there's a reason why Ellie was a first round top 5 pick and Seager is more, not even a top 3 round pick, more like a 4 or 5. Like, look, don't worry about insulting anybody. If you can get Ellie for Seager, do it. Ooh, car cheddar. Okay. What caliber pitcher do you get for Schwarbs? Schwarber just hit his 14th home run, now tied with Aaron Judge. But this is not a surprise. This is Schwarber's what he does. What caliber of pitcher could you get? You should be able to get a near ace, meaning you're not getting Screwballer schemes. I don't know if you could get like Hunter Brown, one of those guys who's statistically one of the best pitchers right now. I would have said Hunter Green before he got hurt. Hey, maybe you can get Hunter Green while he's on the IL and hope he comes back and nothing's wrong. Maybe you get George Kirby, who, I think it's worth it. George Kirby, I think that would have been pretty fair. So you could try to do one of those, but it should be somebody very, very close to that, a near ace. T-Rock Will, is Ronel Blanco worth a pickup? Sure, it looks like it after today. But nobody wanted anything to do with Ronel Blanco beforehand. So, look, we don't overreact to the one start. I think he's still worth rostering, though. I think it's okay. Let's see if he puts it together after this. All right, guys. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it. We're an hour 16 in. Levon, let's just say live streams. Typically twice a week, we do Sunday night 2-star streamers, which is this, and of course answering questions. And Wednesday is the midweek check-in, where we just talk about the latest news, answer lineup questions, waiver wire questions before the waiver wire video comes out, like your midweek update, just Q&A. So typically twice a week. It always depends. This Wednesday, I'm not 100% sure if I'll be able to make it. But typically twice a week. New to the channel, appreciate you being here. Appreciate everybody else who's new. Thank you guys for being on here. Again, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and put notifications on. You'll know exactly when we go live and when the new videos come out. So make sure you do that. I wonder if there's any burning questions here. I want to answer all of these, but gotta kind of keep it real here. All right. That's funny. Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's what it is. The key to Vegas. Maybe it's just the sticky stuff is back. That's always the key. All right, guys. Appreciate you all. New video coming out tomorrow afternoon. Keep trade cut. Talk about some of those players that you asked about. Want to know what to do with them. So you'll find out. And of course, new videos almost every day. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.